10 minutes. I'll tell you in 2 minutes left to go. Have you got any other material to hand out or anything? You're all good? Right. If you wish us to ask questions, can you please accommodate that in the 10 minutes? So if you want us to ask you some questions, which is always useful. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. My name is Simon Cowan. I'm a qualified accountant and have lived in Hawke's Bay 58 of my 63 years. As the Chief Financial Officer at the $60 million turnover fertiliser works at Awatoto, now Ravensdown, I followed the Chief Executive's directive to make assumptions that showed that phosphoric acid-based fertiliser, rather than the sulphuric acid, gave a better financial return. I followed the instructions, but when we were merged, I was challenged by the other company, and I resolved that the truth needed to be the basis for investment decisions, not desire or opinion. I have spoken with friends who have lived in Hawke's Bay for a similar period to myself and know the central Hawke's Bay land and farm economics well. I do not believe it is possible for enough farm enterprises to run profitably. So when a statement is reported to be made by Andrew Newman that says for the storage scheme to proceed, farm enterprises need to run profitably if the storage scheme proceeds. The answer at this point is the storage scheme should not proceed. To assess viability, farm enterprises and others need to know how the capital cost of the dam of, say, $265 million is going to be financed. With a commercial investment of this nature by private enterprise, an investment statement and prospectus is legally required. This document identifies cornerstone investors and underwriters to cover any project cost overruns. A number of informed institutional investors have withdrawn their investment support for the dam, which is a concern. In earlier correspondence, I have asked individual councillors and Andrew Newman whether they would personally invest in the storage scheme. It is very significant to me. No one replied and said they would. I'm only aware of potentially a maximum of $80 million from the Hawke's Bay Regional Council and up to $90 million from the government via the Crown Water Investment Scheme. So this leaves a gap of at least $95 million based on the project cost of $265 million. How is this gap going to be filled? It is unrealistic to expect farm enterprises to underwrite the capital cost. If it is not going to be the ratepayer, it seems only the government could be the underwriter. The Regional Council should have a condition of proceeding that there is a government commitment to underwrite the capital cost of the project. If the financing is resolved, the capital servicing cost can be calculated, which is a factor in farm enterprises assessing profitability. Farm enterprises have a water cost of, say, 26 cents per cubic metre, so they can look at conversion or upgrade scenarios to provide a return from their enterprise. Farm enterprises need to show faith by signing up to take their water allocation because they believe they can run profitably. The 40% level of acceptance set by the Hawke's Bay Regional Council was too low. If it proceeds on this basis, the unsigned 60% are in a position of negotiation strength. It needs to be close to 100%. On achieving that percentage, the risk to the ratepayers is minimised. Farm enterprises will sign up if their enterprises run profitably from the water allocation. If they do not sign up, it means they do not believe their enterprises will be profitable. Without legal commitments from farm enterprises, the risk is too high, and the Hawke's Bay Regional Council should resolve that the storage scheme should not proceed. A statement I have read and liked is, the interdependency inherent in this complex system breaks down due to the specific components not being capable of being combined in an efficient manner. The consequences risk is too great, which results in investors and farmers deciding not to invest. A better alternative is to facilitate profitable and environmentally sound growth by utilising technology and resources and skill set for dry land farming. I look forward to receiving a response in respect of the financing of the capital cost and whether the conditions I've suggested will be accepted.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Barker.
For your submission. Thank you very much for your submission. I read it with considerable interest, and I appreciate your updated comments. Could I ask you on the the question about the circumstances in which the council should make its decision? Should the council, when they're considering the $80 million investment to the Rivertown for Water scheme, apply the highest standards of fiduciary duty? Should the council have complete business case and business plan in front of it, completely updated, no square brackets, all the information? And should the councillors assure themselves personally that the contracts for the conditions precedent are met, and in particular the contracts for the 40 million cubic metres are unconditional to take and unconditional to supply?
Yes, I think you would have picked up from what I'm saying. I very much support what that statement says.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Pipe.
Just clarification again. So what you've said in your oral submission, Simon, is really about the conditions precedent. If those conditions precedent are met, do you think then you would support the proceeding towards construction of the dam?
Yes. See, where I'm coming from is that the councillors have got to assess the risk in respect of what's going on. Now, the whole aspect has always been that the farm enterprises must operate profitably. That's the opportunity, that you've created for them, and they have to make that decision. And it's quite difficult, like for someone like myself, I'm a budget advisor. That's also a background that I'm in. And as I say to people, I can't do your budget for you. I don't know how many people in your family for a start. And it's the same thing when you look at the individual farms. You've got to be aware of the specifics of what's actually on the farm and go through the number crunching to justify, the investment. And, I think that we're seeing to date, that we're not getting the responses which indicate that is happening. Therefore, the people are telling you, the people who are, right in the firing line are actually saying to you, I don't think this is going to work. So you can hardly be in a position to turn around and say, no, it is going to work.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Dick, you had one? No. Councillor Scott?
Thank you for your submission, Mr. Cowan. Just looking at the conditions around this, you question whether the 40 million, which is roughly 40%, is sufficient uptake. If you have a look at the figures, if there are other investors come on board, and the figures at that uptake give the council a reasonable return on investment, moving to a fully commercial return at full uptake, would you then, if those figures stack up, would you support that?
Yeah, I think just to clarify for me, when we look at the, the 40%
uptake,
we're talking about the people who are going to take the water, aren't we? So, to me, 40% is not enough.
As long as that gives council a reasonable rate of return, better than we're currently getting in the bank, say, would that be a good starting point for you? Given the modelling shows that full uptake will move to a fully commercial rate of return.
There's a lot of ifs there,
Fair enough, yeah.
Councillor Gray.
Just have a point of clarification. So if I can get the nub of your presentation, it is that all the experts and all the consultants are telling us one thing and the market's telling us another.
Yes.
No further questions. Thank you very much for your. Are there no? Okay. Thank you very much for your presentation, and
just
appreciate you taking the time.
No, thank you. Just in relation to the questions that I asked, will I get a response? Just in due course.
Yes.
From those.
Yes.
Thank you.
You'll get a letter.
Yeah. Right.
Telling where we're going.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Right. Thank you.